Good afternoon, welcome to a very special Sky Bet Access All Areas. We are here at Craven Cottage, just getting ready for the build-up for the second leg of the Sky Bet Championship playoffs. I'm joined by Mark Schwartz. How are you, Mark?
I'm well, thank you.
Good to see you. Games don't get much bigger than this, do they? It really is crunch time for Fulham.
It certainly is. I mean, this is what it's all about. Trying to get through this stage of the competition in terms of qualification into the final, get back into the Premier League. Clubs like Fulham, Derby, of course, as well. They'll be desperate to try and get their sides back in the Premier League.
You've played in some pretty big second legs of games. Obviously, they were in European competition. But what's this place like when it's full and then there's a lot riding on a big game, in particular a second leg?
Oh, it's massive. It's an incredible atmosphere. I mean, it's a small ground. It's very tight. The pitch is very close to the other stands. So the fans, you almost feel like the fans are actually on the pitch with you. So it does add to the atmosphere, but ultimately it's all about the performance on the pitch. So the way that Fulham have played this season, the type of football they've played, the possession-based game, the run of form that they were on up until a couple of weekends ago, has really lifted this place. It's really created an excitement and a genuine belief that this side can get back in the Premier League.
Right, let's go on a little bit of a tour now. This isn't going to be easy because, as you will see when we do this, this is an unbelievably unique ground. But Tom, the cameraman, might have a few problems. Follow us. So we're leaving the cottage now. Obviously, an unbelievable view of the pitch there. We're going to take you out, show you some of the dressing rooms, some of the other parts of this absolutely wonderful stadium. So that's the gaffer's office in there. I've been told we shouldn't really show it, but let you have a sneak peek. He's a big guy, Slavisa, so I don't want to get on the wrong side of it.
Exactly.
So I think the thing that's really interesting about this ground, and you get a real sense of it from up here, is just how we're right bang in the middle of suburban London, really, aren't we? It's crazy. There aren't many grounds like this, are there?
No, they're not. I mean, that's what I think makes it so unique, is the fact that it's very much part of suburbia. It sort of appears from nowhere. It's obviously not a very big stadium, but it just adds that really unique, has a real sense of, I suppose, character to it that's different to anything else that is in the Premier League or in the Championship.
And what would it be like, when you were coming to games, these big games where the crowds are big? Obviously, they walk through the streets, they sort of congregate around there. It must be quite tricky actually getting to the ground as a player, wasn't it?
Well, it's also a very unique setup in terms of plays. You don't park here at the stadium. You park actually around the corner, about a 5-minute drive in the car, and in a school ground, and then you basically get shuttled across in minibuses. So you end up being dropped off right outside the gate. There's a whole pack of Fulham fans there always, and it's obviously that's where you first then get the impact of what the atmosphere is going to be like inside the stadium.
Lovely. Follow us down now, Tom. You obviously get to come back here at times with your work you're now doing, Mark, in the media side of things, but just how special is it being back here? What sort of memories and emotions does it bring back to you?
I've always got such fond memories of playing here at Fulham. We had an incredible time, particularly the first 2 years under Roy Hodgson. The group of players he assembled, a lot of us were written off, past our use by dates. Supposedly our best football behind us, and we proved all the critics wrong. And I think Roy exactly the same. Roy re-established his career, and so that all culminated with the club really jumping on board, the supporters, and going on an incredible journey, finishing 7th in the Premier League, and then going on and getting to a Europa League final, which the club has never done in their history. We were very, very close to at the very least getting to penalty shootout, but unfortunately couldn't take it that far.
So the players' entrance would be there, would it? You come
That's
through
right.
here, yeah?
Yeah, the cottage gate there. So you come across here and you come through that area and you walk through and up there's normally just stairs here which you can see beneath this ramp, and then through into the corridor into the change rooms.
And I think the one thing you get a real sense of is just how small the dressing room is, isn't it?
I keep using the word.
If it was a hotel, it'd be boutique, wouldn't it?
That's right. I keep using the word unique, and that's what Fulham Football Club is. It's unique. It's so different to any other football club you see. When you talk about the building itself that we're in, how old the cottage itself is in. That's obviously why we're at Craven Cottage, and this change room is one of the smallest change rooms you'll come across. It's actually even smaller than the away team dressing room.
So there's a reason we're in this corner. This is where you used to sit.
Well, actually, this one here, yeah. So this is where I sat for the 5 years, and many great times here at this club, which was something that even when I talk about Fulham, I talk with a smile on my face because of such fond memories, and also more importantly the people that were that worked here, and also the players and the management and the staff that you worked with. It was just an incredible time in part of the club.
And who were some of the characters in the dressing room? Did you have any weird superstitions or pre-match routines? And if you didn't, did any of your teammates?
Well, some would say that I did have a weird superstition, the fact that I had the same shin pads for the entire part of my career. So I started wearing them at 18 years old, and I wore them throughout the whole time, and I've actually passed them down to my son now. So
I imagine they smell nice, don't they?
I always got it aired out, but you know what? I used to put so much pressure on the kit man, because he used to say to him, "You lose those, and you'll probably lose a limb." So it was often panic stations for the kit man if he misplaced them somewhere along the line. But yeah, then you had players like Zoltan Gira, who was a real character, a real joker all the time. Clint Dempsey, very serious. You want to be on the wrong side of him because he'd try and rip your head off. And then the rest of the guys were pretty level-headed, and pretty normal. Well, what's normal? But pretty normal. But we just had overall just a really good camaraderie in here.
Lovely. It's just unbelievable, isn't it? You've played at hundreds of grounds in your career. This would definitely be the smallest dressing room you've changed in, wouldn't it?
I would say, yeah, pretty much so.
At a professional level.
At a professional, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. And I knew what it was like before I came to Fulham, because I played here for the national team a few times here at Covent Cottage, so I'd been in this change room before. So that wasn't really new to me. However, I think for me, it was just about the whole experience. It just added to it. It added to the quaintness of the club, that family kind of atmosphere, the togetherness of everyone at this club. Everyone really pulled in the one direction.
Right, let's take you through to the away dressing room now. And like you say, Mark touched on it earlier, the away dressing rooms are actually bigger than the home dressing rooms, which isn't something you usually see at any clubs. Lads, how are we? Just popping our head in here quickly. So obviously away dressing room, which you can see twice the size of the home dressing room. Have a little look here, boys. Some of the whole range of energy drinks, chewing gums, gels, caffeine shots, you name it. When you were playing, what were you? Sort of water, or would it be energy gels would you have later in the game?
Mostly just water. I had a few of my own little bits and pieces I brought along, but generally I didn't touch any of the stuff. Didn't really feel the need of it. Some would say goalkeepers don't need it because they don't really exert themselves very much. And you may have a point there, but yeah, no, I was pretty much more of a water person, just stuck to water all the time. And
I suppose this side, the sports side of the game, just continues to evolve, doesn't it? And we're seeing more and more little nuances and little sort of additions to kind of the nutrition side of things and the hydration.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, particularly when the weather changes. I mean, this time of the year, it's really important to have a lot of these hydration stuff. The stuff with the extra energy, little satchels there, the caffeine. Probably lesser extent, probably more just before the game to make sure someone's really, really wide awake and really attentive. But you look at the Lucozades with all the different types of additives that are in there to help try and replenish your body, and which is important at this time of the year when the weather increases.
And it do feel quite hot in here.
It does. Maybe it's a tactic. I'm not really sure. And also, I think the fact that the change room is so much bigger, I think you want to have a bit more welcoming sort of feel for Derby County. So maybe they'll be a little bit complacent when it comes to match time.
And just touching on Derby, take your Fulham hat off for 1 second. You've probably played in second legs of games where you're taking a 1-goal lead away from home with you. How did Derby approach this game? Do they sit back on it and try and hit Fulham on the break, or do they try and have a go, get that second goal and really be fully in control of the situation? I
think it's pretty easy, the tactics, in terms of what Fulham's like. You know that Fulham's going to have a lot of the possession because they did it in the first leg away, up at Derby County. So you know that it's going to be a game where you've got to sit back a little bit. You've got to keep those two banks of four really solid, make it difficult to be broken down. And the longer you can keep it at 1-0 at this stage, the more that Fulham need to try and press forward, the more they need to expose themselves, and there'll be chances. So Derby just have to bide their time, hope that they can keep a clean sheet, as long as they possibly can in this game, and then the gaps would open up.
Lovely, right? Now let's get out and do this walk. Now, obviously, you've done this many a time, Mark. So the players sort of congregate here, or is it sort of outside? Because it's not like a traditional tunnel that you see at most grounds.
No, it's not. I mean, you can imagine as well, there's a lot of staff members there as well, and So it can be pretty difficult, and particularly if you're late coming out, the guys are all lined up. A lot of the staff members are still standing in that tunnel, and if you're coming out late, it's pretty difficult half the time to get through them all to quickly join your teammates in a queue. I mean, I've done it a couple of times where actually the guys are already halfway across the pitch and I'm running afterwards, behind because I'm a bit late. But generally I was on time.
Lovely. And so then, of course, the players be brought out here, the tunnel will be rolled out onto the corner
Yes.
of the pitch. And what's this place like, honestly, when it's a full house? Because the other thing you get a real sense of that you don't get at a lot of other grounds is just how close the supporters are to the pitch here.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's there's people hanging over the side railings there. It's really noisy. You really feel it when you come out of the atmosphere. The play, everyone, all the fans see you coming out of the tunnel. Spotlight is on you. It gives you that sense of this is real. This is where it's going to happen. The adrenaline starts to kick in. The excitement. There's a bit of a long walk across the pitch there where you line up in your two lines, and then the referees are there and you shake hands, and that's when you start to really get the blood pumping and the adrenaline pumping as you start to go up and warm up and get ready for the game. Yeah,
of course. It's not something you often see, is it? The fact that the dugouts are on the other side of the pitch. You've got to walk right the way across. I can imagine it can make for some quite sort of difficult occasions as well, can't it? You can't just nip out the dugout and down the tunnel. You've got to sort of walk.
No, that's right. Yeah,
across.
It's always across the pitch or around the pitch when the game's being played. So fortunately, I didn't spend too much time on the bench there. It was very rarely that I was sitting on the bench there, which is great. But yeah, the guys, it was sometimes you'll see games where a guy might duck off quickly and run around the pitch because you just can't hold on anymore. Particularly when it's warmer, everyone's trying to hydrate themselves a lot. And then you're running out of time. They're desperate to go to the toilet, and you'll often see people running around the side of the pitch.
Just talking of the pitch, how good is the surface here? I mean, it is immaculate, isn't it? It's like a carpet, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. I think it's gotten better. It's even better than when we were here. When I was playing in this club, probably played a little bit more football because of European football, but often the 6-yard boxes weren't holding up too well. But the groundsmen have done an incredible job. I mean, the ground is a bit open, and it is in a great part of London as well, so it does get a lot of sun on it. But they've done a really, really good job at it.
And finally, I'm going to have to put you on the spot. I'd like a prediction from you, and just how you think the game's going to go.
I've got some concerns for Fulham because they went on this unbelievable run of 24 games without defeat. They then get the big kick in the teeth when they lose away at Birmingham. Had they won that, we all know in hindsight they would have been automatically promoted. And then the performance away at Derby was the concerning bit. They went a goal down, they struggled a little bit. They kind of had the stuffing knocked at them a little bit. Second half they came out, they had a lot of possession, but with zero end product. They didn't even look like scoring. So I just hope that was a minor blip. I hope they've got themselves back on track, and this is where they need to perform at home. They've had an incredible home record. This is where they need to win the game. They've got the fans behind them. The pitch is fantastic, perfect for their style of football. Derby's going to sit back. They're just going to have to break them down. They're going to have to use their strengths and rely on individual talent as well, to try and break the deadlock.
Brilliant. Thanks for this. It's been great. Insight's been fascinating. Of course, the game kicks off tonight, 7:45. That'll be on Sky Sports Football. There's a whole host of price boosts and other markets to bet on with Sky Bet. Enjoy the game, and hopefully you've taken on board some of Mark's wise words of wisdom. So thank you for joining us.
Cheers.